Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with an OG and one of the original interviews on my channel, Mr. Millennial Mike. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. Ready for round two, as Dion would say?
Yes, round two. Hey, one of the things I want to do is I want to pull up something I've recently created. It's going to be featured in my new office. It will likely be the first thing you see when you open the front door. I call it the ORAT rules. So I'm going to bring it up and we're actually going to go backwards. And I want to, because you've been with me a long time, I want you to see if any of them are wrong, right? Maybe my internal speak is wrong, but I just want to see what you feel about them. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me share. This should work. Okay, cool. All right, hopefully you can see that.
Yes, sir. I can see it.
All right, so we're going to start at the bottom. Everybody starts at the top. We're going to go backwards. I always hated when teachers would make you seat by alphabetical order and then backwards, because I was either last or first with the ZU.
Yep.
So we're going to go to number 7 and see what it means to you. Number 7, audit your personal network. Are they helping or hurting you? What do you think?
I think this is a really good topic because I think that when you very first are looking to get started, as I was, a lot, and I started talking to people, I'm going to buy my first piece of real estate. Oh, great. You're going to buy a house. It's such a good time to buy. No, I'm actually thinking about buying a duplex. Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be a landlord? Well, I have a bigger goal of actually becoming successful and financially independent through real estate. Okay, well, that seems like a little bit of a pipe dream. You're too young, even though I was 27. You don't have any experience, which was true. You could fail, you could fall, you could trip, you could stumble, you could lose all your money, blah, 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 blah. Real estate's a mess. This was only a few years after the Great Recession. And you have to be able to audit your personal network. And it's easier probably to discount the opinions of, people that you work with, people who just don't understand, people who maybe their own lives are in a little bit of a mess. But you also have to be on the lookout for the people who you truly care, respect for, and love. For instance, my grandma. My grandma raised me. She has more confidence, faith, and belief in me than any human being on the entire planet. And it caught me by surprise when she, of all people, said, "I don't think you should do it. I don't think that you should invest in real estate. I don't think, what if you make a mistake? What if you lose your money?" And, this is someone whose opinion I care about, whose respect I care about. And I sat there, and because she raised me to have this unbelievable level of confidence in myself that I can accomplish anything, I was able to move past it. But for someone who doesn't have that, even people who care and love about you, who are coming from a place of love, they may give you bad advice. And so you have to have that grit, that discipline, the motivation, the determination to say, I've got to try it anyways. Even if I mess up and have to tell them they were right, I still have to do it. So auditing doesn't necessarily mean kick them out of your life, but maybe it means don't talk to them about real estate until you can tell them, well, Grandma, I got 6 rentals now. And now she's like, oh, that's so great. I'm so proud of you, sweetie. You're doing such a good, I knew you'd be able to. Thanks, Grandma. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love your grandma. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean by that. Because again, it's easy to get cavalier and say we're going to cut out this or that, but your personal network for a lot of us, right? When you look at your core 5, that's a family member, especially when you're getting started. There's probably a couple of family members. So yeah, this doesn't mean cut them, freeze them out, all of that stuff. But you're right. It's sometimes just auditing what you talk about, right? If they're not going to, one of the things you can, like battery chargers and battery drainers, right? Is it causing you to feel tired when you left? Like I have a family member where when I was starting that, I was exhausted after talking to them. Like, well, that's not how I want to feel. Right? It's hard enough. So yeah. And the other thing I want to point out here is it's never really done, right? When you're getting started, audit it. When you're 4 or 5 years, audit it. My personal core 5 has probably changed 3 or 4 times over 20 some odd years. So again, this is an important one. All right. So number 6, 5 to 10 year commitment. Get rich for sure. And then in parentheses, not quick.
I think that this applies to nearly everything you do in life. when I was 14 years old, I grew 10 inches between 13 and 14.
Ouch.
I went to 6'4" by the time I was a ninth grader, and I did not gain weight at the same rate. I was the skinniest, scrawniest, embarrassed, self-conscious, shaggy hair, just wanted to disappear into the background, which I did. If I turned sideways, you couldn't see me at all. And I started going to the gym, at our little school gym. There's the seniors, and they're just bench pressing, and they're all big football players. And I'm the scrawny little soccer player who runs long distance. And I could barely get the bar off my chest when I would sit down to bench press. I'm curling weights that the girls are curling. And if I could go back now I'm a full grown adult. I'm on our SWAT team. I'm a pretty physically fit guy. I'm in good shape, but it took 5 to 10 years of going in there and being embarrassed and eating right and daily discipline and never giving up to get there. And so any talent or skill that you develop, whether that be personal fitness, personal finance, playing an instrument. I played soccer. I was terrible when I started. It takes a long, long time to master the fundamentals. I know you love basketball. You do the Golden State Warriors. You look at Steph Curry, the man sticks to his fundamentals. Sure, he's got the moves and he's got the fancy stuff, but how does he hit those money threes from half court? He gets the ball, he squares up on target, he gets his elbow locked in, he looks, his feet are planted properly, and the shot comes off. And he does it better than anyone else because he stuck with his commitment for decades at this point, mastered his fundamentals, and didn't give up along the way. I think that's obviously true with real estate. You're gonna have hard days, hard times. You buy your first one, things will happen. You stick with it, stay on your path, stay on your plan, keep doing the work. You'll find that deal and you'll be successful.
Yeah, very well said. And this is, again, for folks, real estate, there's a lot of get rich quick schemes out there. That's never where I want to play. It's like, hey, we're going to sign up to 5 to 10 years. If you're going to play, you're going to play, right? Don't ever be confused. I'm not talking about a year or two. So very cool. Number 5, you kind of went there already. Bad things will happen.
Yes.
Sorry, learn and move on.
Yeah. You're going to get offers that you submit rejected. And you're going to be so frustrated because it took you so long to find that first deal. And you're like, man, I've been studying my market forever. I finally got my buy box narrowed in. I got the offer and it just got turned down. Dang it. That's part, and an offer rejected should be a sign of success to you.
Correct.
Because it means that you were looking at the right properties and someone else was looking at it and wanted it so bad that they beat out your offer. You were in the right area, and eventually one will come through and you'll get it. So you're going to be let down. Things will break. Tenants. I got a tenant right now who's on house arrest, and he's not even at my house. He got arrested at his mama's house, and he's stuck a state away. And we're like, how do we communicate with this guy? Because you got to serve him paper, but he's in another state. Just stuff happens.
Yeah. Bad. Yeah. Again, the whole key in this real estate business is to learn when bad things happen. There are very few things that should wipe you out. But just learn and move on. So very, very well said. Number 4, we're going backwards again. Learn average deal first. Only buy good or great deals. Yeah,
this is probably the best piece of advice that you give for the highly motivated new person, because the highly motivated new person doesn't need to hear these other the first few things we just talked about. They're already so motivated, nothing's stopping them,
right?
But they're over motivated,
exactly,
and they got California, Washington, and New York money, and they're like, hey, this 100,000 lemon is the cheapest thing I've ever seen. That's less expensive than my Tesla payment. Sure, I'll buy it. And they have no idea the mess that they're going to get themselves into when they create an alligator. They didn't run their numbers right. And so you have to, and it comes from time. And I tell the folks who I've met at Dion's local meetup when we chat, hey, you're interested in investing. The first thing you have to be able to do is tell me your buy box and tell me your average deal, because once you know average and then you see that actual good deal, and this is especially important for the analysis paralysis person who's afraid to jump in. If you've looked at 100 or 200 or 300 average deals, and then you see that one unicorn riding around on the prairie, and you're like, what? How is this? Let me run those again. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll submit an offer in. Let's make sure it's not like covered in mold or something, because this seems too good to be true. And sometimes it actually is as true as it seems and good as it seems to be. So you need to know average.
Yeah, this is a big one for me. And this, again, this comes from talking to those, what I call shooting stars. They're so eager. They got a little money in their pocket. They're jingling around. They look at 3 deals, they buy one. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's probably 300 deals, right? So again, your goal of watching my YouTube, reading my books, a course member, is your job is to do enough work to know average, and then to communicate what average is to anybody who asks. And then the market speaks to you. You see the unicorn. It's like, oh, that's different.
Yep.
It's such an amazing feeling. So very cool. Number 3, grow your network. Meet 2+ new people a week. How's that feel?
This is good. This has always been my biggest struggle. And I don't really like when people use "I'm so busy" as an excuse, because we're all so busy. You know, I mean, yes, I work several jobs. I get called out and I'm on a SWAT team, and I'm a single father with my son. I'm so busy. We're all so busy. Some people are just so busy with Netflix and they need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to growing your network, this has been the one thing that I always go, oh, I'm too busy. I just can't make it. And then COVID happens and it's like, I can't go to local meetups. They don't have them right now. But I've continued to force myself to push myself to network. And I'm really grateful that Dion is on your channel. He's from Washington, single father, invests in real estate, and a police officer, just like me. And I go to his meetups and I've met a ton of people beyond what I was already forcing myself to do. And it's really good, because even if you don't get contacts, or even if you don't get referrals for deals or people to work with, that motivation that you see in other people, as you mentioned earlier, battery chargers versus battery drainers, that motivation can't help but sort of find its way into you and just keep you moving. So especially for probably the new people, I think attending in-person events is very important, because they'll keep you on the right track.
Yeah. And again, just ask for referrals. It's really easy to do. And again, I've admitted many times, the first 5 years, I did not do this. And I'm a sales guy, for heaven's sakes. And I didn't do it. I thought the answer was in Excel. So again, I admit my mistakes. Now we're getting into my sweet spot, the things that I am uniquely gifted at, I now appreciate as a gift. And maybe I didn't for most of my life. Number 2, daily discipline. 20 minutes a day. That's what I ask for every day.
Yeah. So the story I mentioned earlier, talking about Steph Curry and the amount of practicing he did, or if you know anything about Kobe Bryant and the workout routine that he had, or I talk about myself working out. Mike, I know you do a lot of CrossFit. You do not see results from working out the first day, the first month, probably the first 6 months. You have to stay disciplined. And this is with everything in life. If you want to learn a new skill, play a new sport, learn an instrument, or be successful at real estate investing, you need to look at your market. You need to have the discipline to try to talk to people each new week, or a couple new people a week. This translates into success throughout all of life. Discipline will trump motivation every day of the week. The hardest worker can eventually overcome the person with the most natural talent. So pick who you want to be. And I would rather be the hard worker. It's a better story anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing I can equate to, is I will work harder than anyone else. So that's definitely it. And then number 1, this is for all the new real estate people, the YouTube University, the bigger pockets folks. You all need to focus. And for me, that is a very simple: establish a buy box.
Yeah. So if you can't say that I'm looking for 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single-family homes in Northwest Indiana that are around 1,000 square feet, sell between $60,000 to $100,000. They're going to rent for $850 to $1,250 in money, that are relatively new on the remodel, roof that's not older than 10 years old, ideally with a yard and a little bit fenced in, because it gives me a better return on my investment. I don't really care that much about the extra bathroom, but I really do like the finished basement. Ideally, I want to have driveway parking, because it's not a super nice area of town. You don't want people parking on the street. If you can't rattle off boom, 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 you haven't done the daily discipline portion yet. You're not ready to buy, because you're just looking at the numbers, and you need to look at the numbers, but you have to have your buy box first. Now, can you go outside of the buy box? Yes, but only if you know it. And let me explain what I mean. I bought a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, single-family home that fit all those other things, but it had an upstairs attic that was completely finished. And the only reason that wasn't a 3rd bedroom was because it didn't have a closet in it. But guess what? That's a great bedroom for the kids, and they'll put a hanging rack in there. So I can leave my buy box, because I know I can still make everything else work, even though, but if you don't have that experience from looking at all these deals, looking at what they rent for and deciding what you want, then you can't make educated decisions as to maybe moving out of your buy box, and you'll get lost in the weeds. Well, what about trailer parks, and what about condos, and maybe I need fourplexes, or maybe I need single family homes. You're going to get lost in the weeds, never make a decision, or worse, buy something bad. So get focused on what is good for you.
Well, I can't say anything more to that. So I think these ORAT rules, they feel like they're the right things, and I do good work hanging this in my office.
Yes, sir. I think so. I think this would be a big sign that's just somewhere in the background, like one of those other ones.
There you go. All right, let me. I had no idea what you would think, so that's very cool. You know what, Mike? How can people find you and get part of your world?
Well, I have added a portion to your course. So, and I've had many people reach out to me. You asked me to talk about out-of-state real estate investing, and you have a bunch of experts who talk about it. And I always say I'm not an expert, but I have experience, and I'm not going to lie to you. So, if you want to find me, you can find me in Michael Zuber's course. You can just Google or YouTube or Instagram Millennial Mike, and I'll pop up.
There you go. Thanks. Do yourself a favor, follow him. He's really doing this business, having fun. He is trying to help people. So thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.